Hello there, thank you for joining me for That's Just the Way It Is. I'm your host, BC. Today we're going to talk about Salisbury, North Carolina, Rowan County, and it is the school system there. In particular, it is one classroom, it's one individual, a social studies teacher. She got into a heated debate with uh, sounded like a couple of her students. It is recorded. Someone that was in that class, one of the students, recorded it and even pasted it on YouTube. So I'm gonna put that down in in the description of the story, and you'll be able to listen to it yourself. I mean, you're not gonna believe it until you hear it. But it starts off by talking about, well, didn't Obama bully some people in school? And she went into the references saying that she didn't know. Well, a couple of the students had reminded her of a conversation that Obama had said that he did in fact bully somebody in school, which that right there is pretty hard to believe anyway. But she got even madder, and she said, and she went into saying that stop, there's no comparison. And they're talking about Mitt Romney, and saying that he's running for president. Obama is president. Okay, that goes what I was saying. That was just a gimme right there. And then one student asked her for a fair debate between the two sides. They're saying basically that you can't talk junk about one side without talking junk about the other side. And the teacher went into saying that you got to realize that this man is wanting to be what Obama is. Okay, I don't think any man walking the face of the earth wants to be what Obama is right now. I don't think that even before this, anybody really wanted to be what Obama is. Now, what he did want Obama's job. He wanted Obama's position. He wanted to run the country. And be honest with you, I don't see where the country could hurt from that, from what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing as of late, especially as of late. But in the last 8 years, I don't think the country's been run too good. It's really been falling apart from what I've been calling the Obama Mountain, and it's been running down as a landslide. From what I've been seeing. So I don't even know what this teacher is really getting all huffy and puffy about. And and the student told her, says, you can't talk trash about one side and not talk trash about the other side. It sounds fair enough to me. From what I'm saying, I think it's fair. And then the teacher told her, so you cannot disrespect the president of the United States in this classroom. Now I want you to remember that comment, because I'm gonna come back to that one in just a minute. And the student told her, said, I'll say what I want. Not about him you won't. Okay, that right there is where I'm thinking that the teacher really letting everyone know that she's gotten real personal about this. And the student went into saying, whenever Bush was president, everyone talked bleak about him. And the teacher said, but he was bleak. Okay, now you can't talk about the president of the United States. You can't talk trash about him. You can't talk any of this stuff about him. But yet, when it comes to former President George Bush, we're going to talk all the smack we want. So basically, what you're saying, Teach, is that your class is going to talk about whatever you want them to talk about, and you want them to believe the same mindset that you've set for yourself, or that someone has set for you. Well, I totally disagree with that anyway. And, there is a such thing called freedom of speech. Okay, and I'm going to get back to that in just a minute. And, the teacher went on as a saying that people went to jail about talking bleak about George Bush. Okay, the student said, and the student reminded her now, and it's getting pretty bad whenever the students are smarter than the teachers. The student told her, said, opinions are protected. You cannot be arrested unless you threaten the president. Okay, now remember, this is a social studies teacher. So she's supposed to know everything that this student is telling her. Which I think is pretty odd that the student is smarter than the teacher. So I'm thinking that, maybe the teacher ought to take a seat and let the student teach the classroom. Anyway, people has looked into this, and not one time has anyone come up and found out or found a story to where someone was arrested for talking junk about George Bush. I've found a lot of stories that is contradictory to that. I mean, there are ones out there where people try to, you know, per se, like threaten presidents and things like that, and they've gotten locked up. Even some that even tried to make their threats reality has gotten locked up. But not one time has anyone been arrested for talking about George Bush. Okay, so that goes into saying about the whole opinion of the school system. And I'm not against. I'm not and I'm not talking junk about the school system or anything like that. I'm putting the information out there. You make the decision for yourself. But as far as this teacher, they suspended her. I think they probably suspended her with pay. That seemed to be the norm to what they do. And they're not releasing the name of the teacher or of the students. But the video I will have posted, down below. I may try to load it up on the screen to see what you think, and take a look at it. And granted that the student is recording this, not to the teacher's. Don't believe it's to the teacher's knowledge, because they didn't. It's like they could put their phone on record or put the video on record and set it on their desk, so you're not able to see anybody, which is probably a great thing. That way we're able to show it and don't have to worry about anybody, speaking up about it. But there is such thing as called freedom of speech. I've been practicing here daily, doing my videos. Like once again, it's just crazy that a student is smarter than the teacher, which that really doesn't surprise me, because if you look at what all the teachers and basically the government, anything that the government is dealing with, I mean, I don't think there's a brain cell among all of them. Thank you for joining me.